1 and day 1 of CitizenCon is fully over. Day 2 is starting in about 8 hours, so I thought I'd quickly just come and give my sort of initial reactions to day 1, and oh boy! Like, every panel I was like, okay, this is amazing, this is going to be the high point. Then the next panel, this one's just as strong, and the next one again is just as strong again. I was blown away. We went from high to high to high. That is, I think this might be my favourite CitizenCon ever. There's been individual panels I liked more before. For example, the Tony Zeverick one, when he was talking about the economy and all that sort of stuff. It was... That single panel is probably my favourite panel from any CitizenCon ever. And yeah, but every single one of these panels was almost as good as that Tony Zeverick one. It was, and so much more than I was expecting in so many areas. So let me just quickly go through the gist of the live streams kind of thing. I'm not going to go into detail about all of them, but just do a quick, what I thought about each panel, so to speak. So it started off with the shaping the verse and the future of the Star Engine sort of panel. And that panel was just all really sort of them just showcasing Star Engine. Because Star Citizen is the game that's made in Star Engine, it kind of showcased everything that was already in-game at the moment. And it was just really trying to show off how powerful the Star Engine is, all the stuff they've developed in the Star Engine that they're going to be putting into the game soon, like the Destructibles and all that. But that sort of initial sort of fly-through of the Stanton system and then the Pyro system, in that one sort of long, seamless, no loading screen sort of style, I thought that was perfect for what they used it for. It was an amazing showcase of the Star Engine. So if CIG want to start selling this as an engine for other developers to purchase and use, kind of in the same way as the Unreal Engine, or there's about 100 others. Now, where was I? So the Star Engine sort of demo was perfect as like a showcase to other developers wanting to purchase it, as I was just saying. It also, I felt, and this is kind of like the chef's kiss, because obviously they're wanting to start advertising that, and that was like their demo for advertising the Star Engine. It was also perfect for us because it grounded us. Like, as the first thing we've seen in CitizenCon, it grounded us, it prepared us. It was sort of like they were telling a story, and say Season 1 was out 2 years ago, then as you start to, before you start to watch Season 2, you get that sort of like 2-minute trailer of everything that's sort of like the rundown of what's there happened in Season 1. This was kind of like that, and it sort of just grounds you and gets you ready and gets you hyped for the next like several hours of all new stuff you're going to see. So they just, you flew around you like all this really cool stuff we've already got, as well as some teasers for the future, like the Space Cows with their eggs on their bellies and that sort of stuff. It was perfect for us, grounded us, all that sort of stuff, and it was got us prepared and ready for all the juicy information to come. And it was perfect for any other developers out there that want to just see how good the Star Engine is, and either want to see what their competition is, or to just see if they want to use the Star Engine themselves. And if they do, they'd obviously have to get in contact with CIG, and obviously have to funnel a lot of money into the continued development of Star Citizen so they can use its engine as well. So amazing Star Engine is a big deal for Star Citizen, because I see it becoming like an Unreal Engine kind of thing, because they have put so much work into this. So much work. And so much work on tools. One of the things you see on Inside Star Citizen is their tools. We're working on this tool, we're working on that tool. If they just sort of bundle all this into the Star Engine, there's potential for them to put stuff like Unreal Engine, Unity, there's like they're going to be serious competition to these sort of big engines that a lot of game devs that don't have the time and money to invest and develop their own engine, so they'd go to stuff like the Unreal Engine. That they're going to be serious competition to those types of things. So that was a starting off or a high right there and right then, just because of the potential this could mean for Star Citizen in the years to come. But we went, like, the next panel, oh my word, Fix It and Fly It. I was not expecting engineering gameplay to be anywhere near this far along. When they started showcasing it, I thought it was just going to be them talking about the pipeline again. I was like, oh, I was looking forward to them talking about the pipeline. They didn't just talk about the pipeline, they literally showed them it working in-game for them, not in the PU. Just want to make sure that is clarified right here. Not PU in their build they're using there. So that was in a void, there could have been a couple of things faked, this, that and the next thing. So it was not in PU, I just want to make sure that is clear here. But they had it working on their screens in-game. So they were able to run around, do engineering gameplay, fix stuff as another player that was, they had 3 people in this demo. 3 people, 1 shooting the ship and 2 inside the ship trying to keep the ship together with bubblegum and beams. And they were running around, they were taking stuff out, putting new parts in, they were trying to fix what was fixable, and yeah, it was absolutely... Oh, camera, come on, stay focused, good camera. It was amazing. Like, when, as I said at the start, when they first saw, I was like, oh yes, the pipeline, we're finally going to get to see the direction they're going to be taking with engineering gameplay and that sort of thing. Wait, what? This is in-game? This is not a graphic? This is in-game? This is not... Okay, he's actually taking components out, and it's actually... Okay, this is like... I was constantly just like, oh my. And... oh, there was so much stuff there, and Juicy I'm not even sure if it was a Sloydulent, I'm getting tongue-tied now, but like a mistake, because at one point when they were going over to the ship and they were taking a component out, he was talking about how they could be crafted by players eventually, and I was like, wait a minute. Wait, let's take a back step there. Now, don't quote me on this, but I am 90% sure back in the day, CIG said we won't be crafting components. They said there was going to be crafting in-game, but they said we wouldn't be able to craft components, weapons, and gear like that, so to speak. So the crafting would probably be more like narcotics, more like building parts, more that sort of vein, along those sort of lines. So there would be player crafting, but they didn't want us to be able to have too much power and influence in the economy with it. So they didn't want us to be able to like build ship parts. They were going to be like anything that was branded, basically, essentially, was the gist I got from it before. So like blah 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 power plants, Hurston guns, this, that, and anything that was branded we wouldn't be able to build was the impression I got. And components are very much all branded. You buy a shield generator from this company and they might be better at this one area, but this other company has a better in another area. So like your shield's raw health might be better from this company, where its recharge rate might be better from its rival company. But yeah, anything like that was branded was the impression I got we weren't going to be able to craft ourselves. So maybe it's just locked behind a reputation wall grind type thing now. I don't know. I'm definitely going to be interested to see if they talk about that more in the future. Because, yeah, as I said, I might be remembering it wrong. It might have just been weapons they said we weren't going to be able to craft. But I was just like, wait, what? Did he just say we could craft components? And it caught me off guard, so that was just a juicy little tidbit there and then. And so yeah, that was the Fix It, Fly It. It was amazing. Again, that was just boom. I was like, oh my word, that was insanely high. And also when we were taking a look at the power management map and all the pipeline sort of stuff, like what components are on fire, this, that, and the next. Oh, that's another thing they showcased. They showcased the fire and rooms burning, and I remember thinking this system's going to be so bright and so perfect for ships. But just see like the level of immersion. The same system means like you just get yourself a frying pan and open fire, put some popcorn in that pan, pop, 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 pop. They do not need to fake anything there. They've already got this huge, overly complicated system. If you're just wanting to fry some popcorn, it's overly complicated. I just want to say, if you want a realistic space simulator that Star Citizen in its insane vision wants to create, it's not overly complicated. But for anything outside of Star Citizen, it's overly complicated. I want to clarify what I mean by that. But if you just want to pop some popcorn, it is an insanely overcomplicated system. Because you've already got that for all the other stuff, you can just... They don't even need to make anything. They just set the popcorn, like the little seed kernel things, whatever they are. I'm a bit too hyped to get my words exact. Just when they're making the item, just give it a popping temperature, and like they've already got a combust temperature in there. It should be simple and easy enough for them to do, and that's all the work they need to do just to get it. So you can literally just go frying pan, popcorn, pop, 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 pop. It is just, that is one of the things I love about Star Citizen, because they're making all these big, beautiful, complicated systems that we do not see anywhere else in gaming. Because they're making that, it just translates to every aspect of life in Star Citizen. It is insane, like the nitty gritty stuff that will be able to happen. And the is it emergent gameplay they describe it as when they're talking about Star Citizen, just because we've got these insane systems like that fire spreading, like the temperatures, like the room. It is one hell of a game. There is the vision. It's just, this is one of those moments where the vision is just so grand, and how stuff after all these years is finally starting to all come together. Like once that fire system's in place, they add a popcorn item into the game, that they don't even need to make anything else. You can literally just walk up to the fire and pop your popcorn. It's sort of personifies the two sides of the game that are perfect for me. There's like the sort of role-playing Second Life in space sort of side of the game, and then the nitty-gritty space dogfighting, industrial, all the gears grinding, the sort of two sides of Star Citizen, the sort of life and the sort of in the meat grinder, and the two sides just sort of complement each other, and it is beautiful. Right, Talking Ship 2953. Weirdly, not, 'cause normally this is the most hype-inducing part of like something like an event like this. It's like the new ships. What new shinies am I getting? Like, am I going to be able to pilot? I was going to say fly, and it was then pilot, and the two words just sort of meld together, kind of like that last little bit we were talking about. But yeah, is there going to be some new gunship for me to pilot? Is there going to be a new cargo hauler? What juicy ships are we getting? And I feel like, to be honest, this was probably the low part of all of CitizenCon. Now, I suppose if you're not really interested in the Star Engine whatsoever, and you're like, man, I don't care about like the financial situation of CIG. I don't care about this, that, and the next thing. I just want gameplay. I just want game mechanics. I suppose you could argue then that the engine stuff, the Star Engine stuff, was like the low point, but then there was a lot of stuff in there for Star Citizen in the future, like the destroyable terrain, this sort of Battlefield-esque mechanics in the firefights with like bits of terrain flying off here, there, and everywhere. The water physics was I'm getting sidetracked going back into the Star Engine segment, but so even if you weren't interested in all that, I could see like a point of view of someone being like, the Star Engine was the low point, and the ships was like, okay. The ships, I think that clarifies it quite well, actually. For me, the ship section was just okay. For something that is normally so hype-inducing, it was just okay. We got the Zeus, which took a surprising turn, because I thought they were going to lean into that sort of very sort of early, like in the Star Citizen lure sort of aspect of the ship. Like, kind of like the Space Penguin the Avenger is. I thought it was going to be basically an Avenger, an RSI Avenger on steroids, with maybe like either a few different variants or a modularity sort of side of it. That's the sort of what I was expecting. But it's like, no. The Mark II is not just like a under the hood Mark II. It is a full-blown, redesigned from the ground up Mark II. It looks like a very, very modern RSI ship. And I've seen there was a lot of mixed feelings by that, because a lot of people wanted that sort of Space Penguin look, and a lot of people were like, the new RSI ship, new saucy RSI ship. And I'm probably more the latter, like because the Space Penguin is kind of like, there's always been... I don't mind the black and white sort of retro Star Citizen sort of look, but it's not my favourite. And RSI is one of my favourites in the looks department, so you could argue that I'm a winner, not a loser out of this one. But yeah, there was a lot of sort of mixed emotions on that front. I did think they did a really, really amazing job on the Zeus for its sort of space management. When I was looking at the interior layout of the ship, I was like, how big is this ship? It's smaller than a Connie, but the interior looks far superior to the Connie. It looks like there's more rooms, there's space is way better used, there's this, that, and the next thing. And I made a guess, like, as it was streaming, that it was somewhere between, say, a Cutty Black and a Connie in size, but is actually really is roughly the same size as the Spirit. I think the Inforunner Execute got the actual size and seen that it was like 1 meter longer than a Spirit, so it is directly competitor to like the Freelancer, to the Spirit. It is not bigger at all, so I thought it was sort of going to try and thread a needle between the two, but it is direct competitor to the Freelancer and all that, and its interior space is superior to the Connie, and it has rooms, it has living areas. I think it's going to be an amazing little ship in that little niche, specifically for people that like their ship interiors. Like, we've only just seen a layout, we've not had like a walkthrough or anything, but that ship's going to be right up there right from the get-go if you like ship interiors. The Clipper variant had a very competitive cargo grid layout. The bounty hunting variant sounds really competitive compared to the Cutty Blue. And the sort of Explorer variant, to me, is the kind of like, it feels like it's just like the default variant that doesn't really have much going for it. Kind of like the base model of the Freelancer. So we'll see going forwards. And then, let's talk about Navigating the Verse, the last panel in the live stream. And this panel was a lot of people's wish list for CitizenCon this year. It's been a lot of people's wish list for a very long time, and I expect this to be the high of all CitizenCon for a lot of people. It was a complete redo of a lot of the user interface, and it all looks chef's kiss to a lot of it. It looks really good. But the real big takeaway from it is the maps. It is the radar, the scanning, the local maps, and the star map. There is just so much, like, the Star Citizen maps, the way they've done it is such a huge and complicated and convoluted system. But it's so simple and easy. Compared to other games where you've got like a local map, then you change to like a different map to get your overworld map, and your this map for that map, and there's just so much stuff going on, and then Star Citizen has such a bigger scale than that, because say in like an average game you'd have like a town map, and then you'd have a map, and then you'd have, I don't know, maybe a dungeon map, and you'd flick between the like maps you want, for example, in say World of Warcraft or Skyrim or any game like that. Star Citizen's even bigger scale, because you'd have like from the lowest cave to the planet wide to the system wide, to the local system wide, like the moons and this planet, or planet wide you could say. Or no, the planet wide would be on the planet. So you go like from cave to planet wide to planet and neighbours wide, and then whole system wide, and just scaling that all the way up, one map. Seamless, easy, not janky like the old one. It's such huge, and under the hood that must be so complicated. It's got pins, it has just looks so simple and easy and intuitive to use, and for a system that is so big and so complicated, with all its different layers, full 360 panning, zoom, from looking at the star to the looking at a pebble, you can just like link that there, like boom, zooms out, zooms in there at the click of one button. It was chef's kiss, and it looked gorgeous the whole time it was doing it. It was the old star map, literally, for me and many others, is a huge turn off for this game. One of the things that would have me sitting, like, I'd be playing for an hour or two and I'd be like, fuck this game, I'm going to take a break and come back in a couple of months, because the star map is pissing me off so much. Trying to find and get that exact point, get to click it, you zoom in, like I can't click it here because it's something too close to it, and then you'll move over slightly and it'll disappear. Oh, the old one was so frustrating. As I said, it is one of the main reasons I would be like, fuck this, I'm coming back in a couple of months, or when there's something new and shiny for me to look at, was that damn star map. And this new one just looks amazing. It looks like, obviously it was just on screen, they were playing it in game on a dev branch of the game, same as we were talking about earlier with the engineering. So there could have been some stuff under the hood not quite working that they were faking. There could have been a lot easier for the system to handle, because there was only like one player on the server, so to speak. But yeah, there was just so many things. I just realised I forgot one of the biggest things. We've not even talked about the server meshing. Oh my word, there was just so much. What panel was that even part of? I think that was part of the Fix It Fly It. Because I was just Fix It Fly It. I was thinking about the engineering, because Fix It Fly It. But we forgot about the, oh my word, server meshing. Chris Roberts even admitted he cried the first time he seen it, and I don't blame him. Like, as I kept on saying, like, for him, Star Citizen's like a child. And the server meshing, they've been trying to get something like server meshing working for so long. And their last attempt, what was it? Was it SOX? Is that what they called it? I can't remember. There was one, it was a year or two ago, and it was the big thing they were working on for years and years and years. And, well, I think it was about 2 or 3 years they were working on it. And they took it and they were working on it and iterating it, and they were trying to get it to work, and eventually they're like, right, we've tried everything. This just isn't working. We need to go back to the drawing board and try and do something else. And the server meshing was like their answer to try and do it. And now that it was working, and Chris Roberts seen it working, it just, because he knew all the possibilities they could do with it. Because if they had another situation where it didn't work, like the last one, after expending all that time and resources trying to figure out if it could work, like I know some people would say, spent all that time and money on failure. It's not failure. They learned. It was unknown. No one knew. No one had tried to do it before. No one knew if it was possible. They took it to its extreme and found out, because it would have helped them do what they wanted, and it didn't work. So they needed to find an alternative. They couldn't have got to that point of knowing it wouldn't work without trying to do it. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. It's that sort of analogy. They needed to do that to learn they couldn't do it. And it's not been done before. They needed to try and do it. It's kind of like if we go into the moon, like if they didn't know if they could do it. Like they were like, oh, in theory, if we do this and we do that, we can probably get to the moon. But they still celebrated like mad when they finally got to the moon, because in the end they just didn't know. And it is exactly like that. They have to take a chance. Like when they're making the game as big and with as big a vision like this, 80% of this stuff has not been done before. So they're like, okay, if we do this and this, we can probably do that. They're learning like the whole time. It's not wasted resources. It needs to be done so they can make it. That is, yeah. But I've got distracted. But the server meshing, like Chris Roberts crying. That's, and I'm glad he admitted that on screen. It is, yeah, it's, I can well understand. And it just shows you how much he cares and how much of a passion project this truly is for a lot of the people at CIG. And having their commander-in-chief, so to speak, be like I was crying when I seen this. And it was been a long road. And as I described it, it's just this kid taking its first steps. The server meshing is huge. Like, they had it on screen working once again. Like, you'll see a running trend here. Like, obviously, once again, in Dev Branch, not in the PU, with only a limited number of servers. They had 3, and it was static. It wasn't like the servers were able to run themselves up as needed kind of thing. So it's only the first step. And then they're going to want the sort of, I can't remember the term they use, but there's like stack is like step 1, like the servers can turn themselves on and off as they're needed, but like the areas don't move. So say if there's only one person in all of Stanton, like one server would run all of Stanton, but if there's like 100 people in Stanton, you might get one server just for Microtech and one server just for ArtCorp, and the ability to change the number of servers for areas and the size of them kind of thing. Like, so when more people join Stanton, the original one just downscales to the planet that that individual player was on, and then the new server quickly turns on and handles the area the other players are in. The ability to do that on the fly is step 2, but at the moment, like, they had 3 rooms and they were able to, like, beforehand dictate what server was in control of what room. Then when no one was close to the one room, it would just turn off to save resources, and then when people got close to it, it was able to turn back on. And it was just so beautiful and so seamless. And it is, as far as we can see, this looks like, I wouldn't say it's the death of 30Ks, but it's going to be the death of 99% of 30Ks by the looks of things, because they deliberately, like, killed the servers. The game session didn't get 30K'd because of that layer between the two. So as long as the layer between the two is stable. Now, how stable is that layer between the layers going to be? Hopefully that'll make it nice and stable, because it's not having to handle as much. It won't have to crash as much. It's kind of just like a middleman that can kind of keep you sort of, when the server goes down, it can kind of just keep you sort of tide you over till the new one quickly jumps up in its place, or it restarts quickly in its place. So it can sort of, it's like a buffer, if you know what I mean, which makes you think lag might be a problem, but there wasn't any on the screen. Like when the server died, there was like a little lag spike, but then it seemed to bounce back just perfectly fine. And I would take a little lag spike over a 30K any day. And then the walking between the two servers seemed seamless. Driving a vehicle between the two servers seemed seamless. Shooting things in another server was perfectly fine and seamless. All that stuff, I did not expect it to be that ready. I expected them to have it working as like a base, like, maybe behind the closed doors, but they showcased it off and it was all working perfectly. But once again, on Dev Branch, all behind, like, not behind the scenes, but like really scaled down, like it was just a server in charge of each room. Once a server's in charge of a much, like, say, a whole planet, and once the server's got 50 players on it, things, and they might have to scale it up, and it might take them a bit of time. I don't know how long, but oh my word, just yeah, just absolutely. The whole of day one was just. As I said, I have been talking for what feels like 2 minutes for me, and I just looked down and looked, and we are 27 minutes into this part of the recording, and I had a little segment before that that'll be almost seamlessly clipped together for you, if you know what I mean. There'll just be like a little half a second transition or something. So it's probably, we're all probably about 35 minutes into this video, and it feels like it's been about 2 or 3 minutes for me, and it feels like I'm glossing over a lot of the details, just going from the high to the high to the high. The whole of day one was just insanely high. And then I am really, really hyped for day two now, because I was expecting day one has been that insane highs. Day one, they've probably got all the really good and juicy stuff out of the way now, eh? They've probably just got a nice relaxed calm day two. They've sort of hit the ball at the park, and now we can just slowly walk around and get our home run now, or whatever the terminology is in baseball. I'm not a big sports person, but you know the sort of analogy I'm going for. But at the end of it, when they were doing this sort of goodbye sort of little talk, Jared was up on screen, and he was like, "You thought that demo to start day one was good. The one on day two is much bigger and much better." Now, I know you could just say like, "Oh, it's like the marketing sort of style, like you better stay tuned for day two because it's even better," when it's just really more of the same. But Jared has never really come across like that to me before. He's always kind of been down to earth's not the right word, and Jared is also not part of their marketing. He's just like the video guy, the sort of face of CIG. He doesn't seem the type to me that would kind of just try and blow it out, like the expectations out of the water. He seems the type, like he'll often be like when you're on, like if you're watching them on a live stream or something, he'll often be the one trying to sort of bring it back, and like say if his co-host, which is another member of CIG for that day, is like just a random dev, and maybe they get caught up in the hype a wee bit too much, and they say something that is sort of like their own, like, "Oh, I would love if we could do this," and then he sort of reins it back in, saying that that's not a confirmation of things to come, this, that, and the next thing, that's just them talking. He's generally quite good at that sort of stuff. He doesn't seem the type of person that would be like "Join in tomorrow because it's even more and it's even better." You know what I mean? Maybe he was just because he was standing in front of the crowd, just getting up there in the hype, and he was like, "Oh, but the day two one's even better." So I suppose it could be, but if he is just doing that, it's worked on me. I'm expecting it to be bigger and I'm expecting it to be better. And that's not all as well. He was going over the stuff that they had announced for day two. He was like going through them, like the character advancement, the life in first person, taking flight, living on the edge, the destination adventure, and the closing ceremony. As he was going through them, he was going through like, "Oh, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that, just all the stuff that they announced basically that they were already going to talk about." And he was like, "And there's then yeah, there's that other thing," and the crowd literally were like, "Tell us, Jared, tell us." And he was like, and you could see him, he was like, this is the way you can tell when Jared's acting. He likes to overact to make it obvious, so that there's sort of no there's sort of no mixed feelings. There's no sort of upset because of people taking it the wrong way, kind of thinking he's being serious. And that's one of the things that I must admit I quite like too. I quite like to, like, for example, say if I'm niggling someone, teasing someone, I like to be a wee bit like put on a stupid voice a wee bit, kind of like just to really nail home the fact that, like, I don't genuinely believe you're an idiot, or I don't genuinely believe this. I've like so I was like, it's a shitty one now, and you know what I mean, like you overact a wee bit, and it just, I want to always make sure that people realise that I don't actually think they're stupid and stuff like that when I'm sort of niggling or teasing them. And he's sort of like the same way from what I've seen, like, of this here. And he was sort of overacting like a wee bit like, "Oh, I would tell yous, but I've kind of been at this company for 9 years and I've really got to make it to the 10 now." You know what I mean? He's like, he does that sort of wee bit overacting, so he's obviously wasn't like itching to tell us. He was far more concerned about his job. But he's sort of playing that up just for the sort of comedy aspect and wanting to be. He's like, "Oh, I'm on your side." You know what I mean? It was amazing. And he was sort of hinting to son, "Big son, we don't know is coming tomorrow," and my mind is racing. Today was such a high. What could have them so excited tomorrow that they've got a big secret? Like, the engineering gameplay being so far along. To me, that was a big secret, and it was huge, and it was awesome. That is one of the things you would keep secret. The same with the whatchamacallit, the hyper, the other the star map again, worthy of a secret. They kind of all were secrets, but you know what I mean. Like, if this is the kind of secrets you're revealing and you're acting all hype and hush hush about the one tomorrow, it's got me chopping at the bit. But then you could argue again, all marketing kind of stuff to do. This is very stereotypical of what marketing would suggest to do on stream, but again, yeah. I can't wait for today's stream. I've got hours to wait. I think I've got about 8 hours to go. So yes, I'm very excited. Day 2 is inbound. I'm going to wrap things up here now because I think we're about 40 minutes in. And I was meant to just do my sort of initial thoughts and reactions, which this has kind of been, but we've just had so much juicy information. It's, yeah, I have no idea what. I just realised I was planning just to grab something quick to put in the background. I have no idea what I'm going to do now. Yeah, but yeah, hope you've all enjoyed this. I'll see you tomorrow, where we're going to probably just do a quick rundown of what's in day 2, and we'll know what the big juicy secret is. Squadron 42? Something big to do with Squadron 42? Or least quarter, maybe? I don't know if they're acting like this is the big... If they're acting like this is the big juicy secret. And we've already had all these other stuff to be, which would be valid, worthy things of being a big juicy secret. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.